Hi everyone, this is Aurélien from the core team, talking to you from Paris, France. I am one of the software engineers working on the Node app, and in this session I am going to cover the recent updates we have made to the Node app and the reasons why they are an important milestone in our roadmap. To date, the Node app has been installed by more than 200,000 pioneers, 60,000 of which are active every day. We have also recently released PyNode version 0.3.4, and this is a big milestone because it is the first version that enables a set of selected pioneers to follow the Pi testnet blockchain. The latest version is now 0.3.6, and this version makes some more internal stats visible to users. Some node availability stats, some internal data about the blockchain component, and finally some troubleshooting information. Building this version 0.3.4 was a big chunk of work, as we went through more than 10 test iterations with community moderators and with voluntary testers before releasing it to the general public. Due to its nature, the blockchain component has caused a fair number of compatibility issues with various devices and various operating systems, and our goal remains what it has always been: make the interface as user-friendly as possible and eliminate as many issues as possible before releasing a version to the general public. We are still focused on user-centric design. We want to emphasize what you care about as a pioneer and reduce the technical complexity for a majority of users. This is in line with our goal of building the most widely distributed and most user-friendly digital currency. Right now, all Node users can upgrade to the latest version. However, for technical reasons, we are not releasing the blockchain component to everyone. We are gradually making it available to users on a rolling basis. We have invited over 100 Node candidates, and we will be inviting more pioneers to start following the Pi testnet blockchain in the upcoming weeks. The point I'm trying to make is, don't be discouraged if you have not seen the blockchain feature. It will be available to you very soon. Our goal is to eventually enable all Node candidates to turn on the blockchain component and follow the Pi testnet blockchain. Let me try to explain what this concretely means. First of all, what is the testnet? The Pi testnet is a full implementation of the Pi blockchain, but it is using a test currency. Whatever you do on the testnet does not impact your real Pi balance that is shown on the app. The purpose of the testnet is to validate that the consensus algorithm works in real conditions before moving on to the real deal, which will be called the mainnet. The next session will cover that part in greater detail. Now, what does it mean to follow the testnet? Well, what that means is that these latest versions of the Node app enable a user to join the network and locally record and validate the state of the Pi blockchain in real time. However, those nodes are not receiving connections from other nodes, and they are not helping other nodes join the network. That will be part of the super node role. The next session will dive deeper into the specifics of the Pi testnet deployment and how we are planning to gradually move from the current system towards the mainnet. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, this is Aurélien from the core team, and in this session I'm going to cover the roadmap for the future evolutions of the node. In the previous session, we covered how the most recent updates to the node were setting up the foundation of the testnet. In the fourth quarter of 2020, we will keep building on top of version 0.3.6, aiming to achieve the full potential of the testnet. As a reminder, the only way to run the blockchain component in the Node app currently is to follow the blockchain and record a local copy of the distributed ledger. Therefore, our first step will be allowing supernodes to actually participate in the consensus algorithm. For that purpose, we will build features such as submitting and writing transactions to the blockchain and validating transactions submitted by other nodes. The testnet will be a platform to run experiments as part of the revision stage of the network. To achieve this, we will set up the centralized layer, which will allow us to assign simulated data, run experiments, and run stress test scenarios. What this concretely means is that we will be manipulating the consensus graph in order to make sure that the network is still performing correctly under various conditions. What if some nodes are offline? What if the network is under attack? We want to make sure that the network is still able to achieve consensus in those situations. Now, in order to determine if an experiment is successful or not, we also need to know the effects that our experiment setups have on the network health. This means that, along with the centralized layer we will be using to run the experiments, we will also be building a real-time network health data collection mechanism. Once supernodes functionalities are in place, we will select and invite more supernodes in the fourth quarter of 2020 to participate in the consensus algorithm of the testnet. We will invite supernodes based on the node availability statistics that we have been collecting so far. In the future, more nodes will also be selected to follow these supernodes. If time allows, we also hope to build some part of the testnet actual testing infrastructure. Let me give you some examples. We may build a block explorer, which will enable users to view the transactions that have been recorded on the blockchain. We may build a faucet, which will enable users to receive some test currency to their wallet in order to play with the testnet transaction capabilities. We will need actual wallets to enable users to submit transactions and manage their funds. And finally, one thing we may want to have is transaction requests, which will enable a user to request funds from another user. The purpose of all of these tools is that we want to build a complete testing environment so that each individual node is able to play with the full testnet capabilities. Finally, in 2021, as more supernodes and nodes are added to the network, we will keep experimenting and address any scalability issues that may arise, and we will do any work that's necessary for the revision stage of the consensus algorithm. Once the testnet has enabled us to validate that the consensus algorithm is performing correctly under various conditions, we will start building the mainnet. It will be very similar to the testnet, but this time it will be the real thing and it will be connected to the actual balances of the pioneers. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the first Pi convention. The past few days, we asked pioneers to come up with a unique name to call our convention through a Pi topic, and we received 186,173 suggestions. The community upvoted and downvoted those suggestions about 500,000 times. As a result of this process, a very interesting name bubbled up. The name Pi Co-invention. Co-invention resembles co-invention, which means we are all inventing pi together, but it also resembles co-invention and convention. So we decided to go with it. Due to COVID-19, this convention is taking place exclusively online, inside the Pi Network app. Hence, most videos are shot in portrait to accommodate the way we like to hold our phones sometimes. Also, since we're doing the convention online, the limitations of the physical world conventions do not apply. For example, there is no need for everyone to travel to a central convention venue where the convention must complete within a short amount of time. Thus, the Pi convention will run over the course of a couple of weeks, releasing a few videos at a time. Today's speaker session is about Pi node updates and future plans. We will have 3 talks. First, we will discuss node updates from the past quarter. Then we will present our plan for the nodes for the remaining of the year. And finally, we will explore potential future applications of the nodes and the significance of nodes to everyday people. I hope you will enjoy the Pi co-invention. In this session, we will talk about the importance of nodes and supernodes to every pioneer, and what are some examples of additional roles nodes can play on Pi network. Not only is Pi node the cornerstone of the Pi blockchain, but also it contributes to the ecosystem building and economic applications of Pi. For example, in addition to securing the ledger, supernodes can also technically support applications of decentralized finance, which is also known as DeFi. These applications are such as tokenization of real-world assets and tokenization of real estate. But today, we're going to discuss a little bit more on why the node software is important even in non-blockchain sense, and how Pi nodes and blockchain matter to pioneers who neither serve as supernodes nor as nodes. The original vision of the Pi node software was never just limited to operating and supporting the blockchain. Of course, the blockchain, as it secures the ledger of transactions, it is certainly the core and base layer of the decentralization of Pi network. But the benefits of building a user-friendly node software is having extensibility of the functionalities of the node and a large group of people who can contribute to the applications of the node software. So today we want to share a little bit more about the long-term strategy of the node software beyond securing the ledger. Let's look at the network currently. We have over 200,000 pioneers who downloaded and installed the Pi node software, and there are over 60,000 nodes active every day, out of which 40,000 appear to be actively managed, for example, updating to the latest version all the time. A portion of these nodes will become supernodes, depending on the selection process based on the hardware operating systems, network performance, and various metrics we have. But what is the core team's plan for the people who are running the Pi node software who are not necessarily supernodes or nodes responsible for maintaining the ledger? Actually, we have great expectations for them, and we are open to any suggestions that build on top of our thoughts. First of all, the desktop Pi application serves as a redundant interface for the mobile application interface. Not only does it provide desktop or laptop accessibility to the mobile application functionalities, for example, the chats, mining status, future uses of Pi applications, but it also serves as one important step to decentralization in regard to the centralized points of mobile apps stores. App stores have been one point of centralization in the Pi network ecosystem all along. Given the controversy about cryptocurrencies, app stores are particularly strict in reviewing applications related to cryptocurrencies. And we experienced their centralized control over the last couple of years while we were developing Pi Network. For example, our mobile application had to go through very rigorous review cycles before it gets approved and later on to stay live. And we also saw other legitimate applications sometimes getting completely delisted from app stores for various reasons. We hope this will never happen to Pi, but shall the app stores decide to remove our application from their stores for any reason, the Node software will be our backup plan to still maintain the functionalities, the community, and the organization of the network. By having our Node software that contains the Pi application component, we de-risk the possibility of any potential failure in centralized app stores. Okay, apart from maintaining and securing the Pi blockchain, nodes can also allow individuals to share computing resources and get compensated for it. Such computing resources include processing power, disk space, and network bandwidth. Note that these are not our immediate plans, but they are all possibilities that will come further down the line. Let's look at these use cases one at a time. Disk space. Think of it as a decentralized, encrypted Dropbox that allows people to get compensated for securely storing files. Its implementation can be similar to BitTorrent in the notion that files will be stored in a decentralized network of nodes, while at the same time, Pi can have staking mechanisms that can make sure that all files stored on the Pi network are fully licensed. For example, if a file is found to be infringing someone's rights, the file's uploader could lose their stake. To put this in perspective, as a use case, the core team pays thousands of dollars every month to Amazon AWS for storing the Pi Node software files so that pioneers can download them and install the Pi Node. In the same manner, other websites and applications do the same. So instead of these websites paying Amazon, they could be paying that cost to pioneers, using Pi of course, thus creating a passive income opportunity to Pi node operators. Let's look at network bandwidth. This use case is also known as Content Delivery Networks, CDNs, and it is how the internet is able to scale today. For example, the Pi application, like any other app or website on the internet, contains both graphics, images, videos, and media, and it needs to ask the server individualized questions. For example, what is my Pi balance right now? So while the individualized questions must reach a Pi database to be answered, the vast majority of the graphics and media are the same for all members and can be actually answered by a decentralized server near that person. So, for example, when a pioneer in Paris opens her app, the Pi logo comes to her from a server in Paris operated by our CDN provider, while her balance comes from Pi's database in San Francisco. This process helps speed up the application tremendously, because the majority of the data can be delivered fast from a nearby data center or computer, and they don't need to travel long distances through the Pacific Ocean. And that's something that all major apps on the internet do. They use CDN to deliver their content. Once again, to put this in perspective, the core team spends thousands of dollars a month to our CDN providers. But for Pi Network, with a distributed node network, there should be no need for such an intermediary CDN when there is tens of thousands of pioneer nodes in every corner of the world. There is probably a pioneer closer to you than any of the CDN servers. There may be one in the same building that you are right now. What if Pi nodes could utilize their unused network bandwidth to function as a decentralized CDN? If we were able to create such a CDN marketplace for pioneers, they could be receiving additional passive income for operating their nodes. Let's look at processing power. Every computer has one or more processors. These are called CPUs. And those CPUs are mostly unused during the day and completely unused during the night when the person is sleeping. Think of your processor more like your car. It is mostly sitting in your parking lot waiting for you to use it when you need it. At the same time, there are a lot of companies paying large monthly fees renting servers from cloud providers such as Amazon AWS. So potentially Pi Network could match those companies with pioneers who are interested in renting out their unused CPU time. According to our Pi node stats, every day there are over 380,000 CPU cores operated by Pi nodes, and they are unused about 69% of their time on average. Well, the good thing about sharing computing resources is that everyone could potentially participate in sharing them, even on a part-time basis. Moreover, due to the way we structured the Pi node software technically, these functionalities can be implemented as Docker containers on top of our node software, and therefore the development of such modules doesn't necessarily have to come from the core team. Okay, take these ideas I presented today as food for thought. Add your own creative ideas to it, and come build the future together.